In January 2020, an 11-year-old boy vanished from his home in Colorado Springs. The story at first sounded like so many missing kid alerts. He walked out to go to a friend's house and he never came back. But this case didn't end in a neighborhood search. It ended 1,300 plus miles away in Florida beneath a bridge, where a worker found a suitcase no one should ever have to open. This is the case of Gannon Stauch, and how the person who reported him missing was later convicted of murdering him. Welcome back to A Veil of Crime. Gannon Jacob Stauch was 11 years old, living in Colorado Springs, Colorado with his father Albert and his stepmother Letecia. To the public, he became a face on posters and news screens, one more child that the country was praying would be found alive. On January 27, 2020, Gannon was reported missing. Letecia told authorities that he left the house that afternoon to walk to a friend's home and that he didn't return. Early on, law enforcement publicly described the case as a possible runaway. Within days, the sheriff's office reclassified it as a missing endangered child case as new information emerged. Search efforts expanded. Multiple agencies and volunteers joined in, and tips poured in. And then investigators began piecing together what happened that day, using digital trails, surveillance, and evidence that didn't match the story being told. Investigators reviewed surveillance video from the neighborhood. According to reporting summarized in case overviews, footage showed Letecia leaving the home with Gannon in a vehicle and later returning home without him. As the investigation advanced, Letecia's account shifted, and the case turned from where is Gannon to a darker question. What happened inside that house before anyone called 911? On March 17, 2020, nearly 2 months after Gannon was reported missing, a worker discovered human remains in a suitcase beneath a bridge area in Pace, Florida, near Escambia River. Authorities identified the remains as Gannon. Investigators believed that his body had been transported across state lines, an unimaginable distance that made the case even more haunting. A missing child from Colorado found in Florida. A medical examiner determined Gannon's death was a homicide. Letecia was arrested in early March 2020 and extradited back to Colorado to face charges. Later, she entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, which led to extensive mental health evaluations and legal delays. At trial, prosecutors challenged the insanity claim, and the case culminated in a verdict. On May 8, 2023, a jury convicted Letecia of first-degree murder and additional charges including murder of a child under 12 by a person in a position of trust and evidence tampering-related counts. That same day, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus additional consecutive time. Gannon's case is remembered not just for its shocking distance of Colorado to Florida, but for the painful truth that it exposed. Sometimes the danger isn't out in the dark streets. It's already inside the home. So this is one of those cases that stayed with me a long time after I finished researching it. It actually made me cry. I didn't go into details about injuries or anything like that. I just gave a broad overview like I typically do for this channel. But after researching it, it just stuck with me. It was so sad. Just want to say that Gannon wasn't a mystery, and he wasn't a headline, and he wasn't a theory. He was an 11-year-old boy who trusted the adults in his life to keep him safe, because that's what children are supposed to be able to do. When a child is harmed, it's not just a life that's taken, it's the future they never got to reach, the person they were becoming, the ordinary days they never get to live. Gannon should have grown up. He should have been able to make memories. And the world is quieter because he didn't get the chance. If you come back to A Veil of Crime, know this. These stories are told not for shock, but for remembrance, because saying their names matters, and because children like Gannon deserve to be more than a case file. Thank you for watching. If you believe in honoring victims with truth and care, please subscribe. And if you'd like to support this work, the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the channel bio. Until next time, hold the people you love close and don't look away from the truth.